Hello. In this lesson, we will talk about various ways of retrieving cases on Westlaw. As you may recall, if you run a keyword search on Westlaw, you can type the search in this box at the top, select your jurisdiction, and when you run a search like this, one of the content categories where you will retrieve information would be cases. So that's one way of getting cases on the system. Another way would have been to run a keyword search but start in case law database itself. For example, if I click the cases heading here, you will see that you have the ability to start your case law research in a particular federal circuit, state jurisdiction, or you could search by topic. So if, for example, I was interested in researching state and federal cases from Massachusetts, I click that link, and now when I run a search, it would only search and retrieve state and federal cases from that particular jurisdiction. I can narrow this even further. I only want to retrieve state cases from the highest authority in Massachusetts, the SJC. When I click on that link, now I run a search, it will only look for Supreme Judicial Court cases that satisfy my query. In addition to searching by keyword for cases, there are two other ways of retrieving cases, by citation and name. So if your professor provided you with the citation of a case, you could come here, type the citation, and assuming you typed a proper site, you'd be able to pull up case in question. I do want to point out that we do not care, or I should say Westlaw does not care, how you type your citation. It doesn't have to look like proper Blue Book. So if instead of capitalizing and putting a period after the abbreviation, you had simply typed everything all together, that's still going to retrieve that document. And an even better tip, there will be times when you are provided with a list of documents. So if I had a combination of, I need to, find these three cases and maybe this federal statute, I can find up to 100 documents by citation in one sitting as long as I separate them with a semicolon. Westlaw will retrieve that information for me. So when I type those citations in, I retrieve my list here. Here are my 4 documents. I can select all 4 and get a hard copy via email, print, download. I could send to my Dropbox or Kindle. Another feature that you will want to employ when using Westlaw are the folders. You absolutely should folder everything whenever you do research on an issue using Westlaw. Folders are a way to keep your research organized, but they serve a secondary purpose. When you add items to folders, Westlaw will break down all of the issues that are common to the cases, statutes, and regulations in your folder, and it will suggest additional potentially relevant documents you might not have missed, because one of the hardest questions about legal research, when do I know I am done? That folder feature actually is a safety net to make sure you've gotten everything that you need on a particular issue. And we'll talk about folders in a subsequent lesson. So creating new folders is easy. You'll see it right here on the screen, but it really is a good habit for you to get into. Now, at this point, I wanted to talk a little bit about the components you see within a case, and I'm going to use Peyton v. Abbott Labs to talk about this, and then we'll talk a little bit about a case you should be familiar with from your social host liability research. Peyton v. Abbott Labs is what I am displaying here, and when you view cases on Westlaw and cases in print have 2 research tools that make researching much easier for you. In fact, if I wanted to see what this case looked like in the print reporter, that PDF would pull up an image of Payton v. Abbott Labs. But the point I want to make here, and you are probably seeing this already as you read cases in your casebook, a lot of times judges, when they write opinions, are not clear. And sometimes you'll read an opinion once, twice, three times, and maybe come out even more confused about the issue than you were going in. One of the best tips I could give you with respect to researching cases is that you should take advantage of the two research tools that you'll see when reading a case either in a reporter or on Westlaw. Those two tools are synopsis and headnotes. Now you're going to see a running outline throughout cases when you go through them. That's just letting you know where you are in the opinion, and this is actually kind of nice. If you don't want to display that, we could compress this so I can sort of display more text on the screen. In fact, I could go full screen and hide all of the browsing bar features as well. But the point you really should take from this lesson is that whenever you retrieve cases on Westlaw, don't read the entire opinion first. This case would be about 34 pages if I printed it out. First thing you should always do, read the synopsis. The synopsis is a summary of the facts, the issue, and the holding, the law in the case itself. Why is that important? Well, if you were researching a social host liability issue and you read the synopsis from Payton, this case has nothing at all to do with social host liability. This looks like a product liability case and maybe an emotional distress tort case. So if I'm researching social host liability, I'm not going to spend any more time on this. I'm going to go to a different case. But if I were researching product liability, this looks pretty promising. My next step always would be to read the headnotes. And this is where you will become a much better researcher, a much better attorney if you read the headnotes. What are headnotes? The headnotes are a summary of each issue of law from your case. This case contained 12 headnotes, 12 issues of law. They are written by expert attorney editors. These editors will read the case for us and summarize these issues in a way that someone coming to the case for the first time can quickly understand exactly what it was about. As I was saying, judges sometimes are not clear in the way they write the opinion. You could read the case, the opinion, a number of times and become even more confused about exactly what the judge is saying. The other things that judges often will do, instead of defining the legal relationship of the parties, the judge sometimes will use the parties' names throughout the opinion. In fact, there are close to 15,000 cases out there currently that dealt with a landlord-tenant issue where the judge never used landlord-tenant once in the opinion. The judge might have talked about the parties by their names, Smith and Jones, or plaintiff defendant, or appellant appellee. You're not going to search that way. Similarly, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of cases dealing with automobiles, whether it's product liability or motor vehicle accidents, where the judge, instead of using automobile or motor vehicle in the opinion, actually referred to the make and model of the car throughout the opinion. You're not going to search that way. I mean, you're not going to search Subaru, Ford, Jaguar. You're going to search motor vehicle or automobile. So these headnotes are a real powerful way for you to gain an understanding regarding what the case is about. In fact, they serve three purposes. One, they're going to summarize each issue of law in the case. 2, they allow you to target the parts of a case that are relevant for you. If I am researching a product liability issue, I might be less interested in issues 1 through 3 in this case because those 3 issues deal with the main topic, damages. Issues 4, 5, 6, and 7, along with issue 8, are product liability issues. Those are the important parts of this case for me if I'm researching product liability. In fact, this 4th issue deals with the main topic, product liability, subtopic, elements and concepts, drugs in general. Here's a summary of that particular issue. All right, so headnotes are a real important way for you to get to exactly what's important for you. And by the way, I'm not saying that you wouldn't read the entire opinion at some point. I just wouldn't start there. So if I know that this particular issue is important to me, I could click on the number 4 and it jumps me into the case where the judge actually discusses that issue. Another really nice feature, I can annotate. So if I click and drag with my left mouse button, let me try that again, click and drag, you don't need all of that. Click and drag with my left mouse button. I have the ability to highlight and add a note. That last feature, copy with reference, will copy that quote in either Blue Book or Allwood format. So when you're writing a memo, you're going to be able to provide the reader with not only the quote, but both the official and the parallel pinpoint citation. Now, I said that headnotes accomplish 3 objectives. I wanted to use a case that you are familiar with for the 3rd objective. So I'm going to try to find a case that you know, McGigan v. New England Telephone. This is the final way of retrieving cases. More often than not, you're going to remember the name of a case rather than the citation. Just start typing what you're looking for. Westlaw will give you an ability to find it, assuming you spelled it correctly. All right, so this is the McGigan case. A little bit shorter than Payton, 34 pages for Payton. This one's 8. Payton had 12 headnotes. This one has 3. All 3 of these pretty much deal with a social host liability issue. Here are the 3 issues summarized for us from this particular case. As I said, headnote's going to summarize each issue in the case. Number 1. Number 2, they allow us to target the parts of a case that are most pertinent based on what you are researching. The 3rd thing that headnotes do for us, every single headnote from every single case has been placed somewhere in the West topic and key number system. The West topic and key number system is simply a gigantic index of all American case law. It's arranged according to almost 500 main legal topics. Alcoholic beverages is one of those main legal topics. And there are over 100,000 subtopics. Here's one of the subtopics. So if I land on a headnote that says exactly what I am interested in researching, with one click I can get every single case from any jurisdiction classified to that minute point of law. This is where, again, we are providing you with a safety net. We're giving you expert guidance. You don't need to run a keyword search. And by the way, I'm looking at a compressed view of the key number system. If I click on this list tab, grid tab, or grid icon, it'll give you a more detailed outline of the topic and key number system. So this 3rd issue has been placed to the topic alcoholic beverages. On the alphabetical list, that's just topic number 23H. Don't worry about that. Subtopic is Roman numeral 6, civil liability for providing alcohol. Subtopic under that, Roman numeral 6G, actions and proceedings. Subtopic under that, 6G3, final number there, admissibility. If I click on that, I'm able to get every single case in Massachusetts classified to the topic alcoholic beverages, subtopic civil liability for providing alcohol evidence admissibility. I ended up getting 4 cases in this jurisdiction. Just a real precise way for me to get exactly what I need on a particular issue. This is still the best way of getting relevant cases. Once you land on a case that says something that you're interested in, use headnotes and the topic and key number system to get you every other case from that jurisdiction. Okay, that is it for today. I hope this was helpful. If you have questions, feel free to let me know, and happy researching.